Welcome to lecture on algebra and number theory. In this video, let us see subrings and ideals. First, let us see what is a subring. The definition of a subring is given here. You consider a ring R under the operations addition and multiplication denoted by plus and dot. A non-empty subset S of R is called a subring of R if S itself is a ring under the operations of R. That is, when you restrict the operation of R to S, then S must itself satisfy all the conditions for a ring. Then S is said to be subring of R. Examples. For every ring R, the subsets, the singleton set Z, that is the identity element for addition, and the whole set R are always subrings of R. When you consider the ring of all integers under ordinary addition and multiplication, you may note that the set of all even integers form a subring of Z, plus, dot. So you may verify all the conditions for a ring for this set also. So we will see you will see the necessary and sufficient condition for a subring, and we may verify afterwards that the set of all even integers is a subring of set of all integers. Not only even integers, when you take any multiples of a particular integer n belonging to Z plus, that is a positive integer, you take the multiples as nz, that is equal to the set of all elements nx such that x belonging to Z. That set itself forms a subring of Z under ordinary addition and multiplication. So we have already seen that Z, Q, R, C are all rings, but we note that Z is a subset of Q and Q is a subset of R is a subset of C. So under the ordinary addition and multiplication, Z, plus, dot is a subring of Q, plus, dot. That Q, plus, dot is also a subring of R, plus, dot, which is a subring of complex numbers C, plus, dot. For finite ring Z6 under addition modulo 6 and multiplication modulo 6, these three sets U is equal to 0, 3, S is equal to 0, 1, 5, and T is equal to class 0, 2, 4 are all subrings of integer modulo 6 under addition modulo 6 and multiplication modulo 6. Now in this theorem, we shall see what are all the necessary and sufficient conditions for a non-empty subset of a ring to be a subring. So consider a ring R under operations plus and dot. A non-empty set S of R is a subring of R if and only if these two conditions are satisfied. That is, the first one is closure under addition and closure under multiplication. That is, for any two elements A and B belonging to S, we should have A plus B and A into B belong to S. Similarly, for all elements A belonging to S, its additive inverse minus A must be in S. We shall see the proof. It is given that R, plus, dot is a ring and S is a non-empty subset of R. So first we shall assume that S is a subring of R. So every subring is itself a ring. These conditions follows automatically. As S is a abelian group under addition and semi-group under multiplication, these three conditions follows automatically. Thus for all a comma b belonging to S, we have a plus b comma ab belong to S. And for all a belong to S, we have minus a belongs to S. Conversely, assume that these two conditions holds in S, then we have to prove that S is a subring of R. So to prove S is a subring, we have to prove that S is itself is a ring. That is S comma plus is an abelian group, S comma dot is a semigroup, and distributive law holds in S. So these three conditions we have to verify. By assumption, we have these two conditions hold in S. So by condition A, S is closed under addition and also multiplication. As S is a subset of R and R is a ring, the elements of S also satisfy certain properties such as associativity under addition, associativity under multiplication, and also the distributive law of multiplication over addition. So these properties will be satisfied by the elements of S also. Again, by condition B, for every element A belonging to S, minus A belongs to S. That is, the additive inverse exists in S. So it remains to prove that the additive identity exists in S. So by condition B, we know that if A belongs to S, then minus A belongs to S. As S is non-empty, S has at least one element, and that element's additive inverse exists in S. But by condition A, the sum of these two elements, that is A plus minus A, must be in S, but A plus minus A is nothing but Z. So Z belongs to S. Hence, we have proved all the necessary conditions to verify a ring. So S is a ring and hence S is a subring of R. So next, in this example, we shall verify whether the given set is a subring using the previous theorem. Verify whether the set S is equal to set of all odd integers. When you consider this, you are having minus 1, minus 3, minus 5, etc. 1, 3, 5, etc. That is plus or minus 1, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 5, etc. That is the set of all odd integers. We have to verify that the set of all odd integers is a subring of Z under the operation defined by x plus y is equal to x plus y minus 1 and x dot y is equal to x plus y minus xy. In the previous videos when we are discussing about ring, we have seen that Z is a commutative ring with unity under these two defined operation. So now we are given another set S, which is a subset of Z. We have to verify whether that S is a subring of Z. So solution. So we have written what are the given operations. So already we know that Z comma plus comma dot defined by these two operation is a ring with 0 element Z is equal to 1 and unity U is equal to 0. So to verify the set of all odd integers is a subring of Z. For that we have to prove that two conditions as proved in the previous theorem. There is first one, closure law for addition and multiplication, and the second one, additive inverse for each element. So since this set S has odd integers only, the sum of two odd integers is even. So when you take x and y in S, then x plus y is even. So if x plus y is even, then x plus y minus 1 is odd. So that this x plus y belongs to S. That is, this total result is an odd number, hence it belongs to S. Similarly, the product of two odd integers is odd. That is, xy when multiplied will give odd number if x and y are odd. Hence, x dot y is equal to x plus y minus xy is odd. As this number is even, x plus y is even minus one odd number. So that is a odd number. Hence, x dot y is odd. That is, it belongs to S. So closure law for addition as well as multiplication holds in S. Next, the inverse of x is 2 minus x in Z. This you can verify from the previous video that we have found the inverse of each element A belonging to Z is 2 minus A in Z. So similarly here also the inverse will be inverse of any element for it. So here also we can see that the inverse of any element x belonging to S will be 2 minus x. As 2 is an even number and 2 minus an odd number will be an odd number, hence 2 minus x also belongs to S. Thus, the two necessary conditions for a subset, non-empty subset to be a subring are satisfied, and hence S is a subring of Z, plus, dot. But you may note that S is not a subring of Z under the ordinary addition and multiplication. Since sum of two odd integers is even, the first condition, closure law, does not satisfy in S. Hence, S is not a subring under ordinary addition and multiplication. So, the previous theorem can be rewritten like this. That is, combining the first and second condition together, you can write like this. Let R be a ring and S be a non-empty subset of R. Then S comma plus comma dot is a subring of R if and only if for all A comma B belonging to S, we have A minus B belongs to S and AB belongs to S. So similar to the previous theorem, we can prove this also. If S is finite, you need not verify for the additive inverse. You just verify whether it is closed under addition as well as multiplication. So if S is finite, then S comma plus comma dot is a subring if it is closed under both addition and multiplication. Next definition, we shall see what is an ideal. There are two differences between a subring and ideal. First, we shall see the definition. A non-empty subset I of a ring R is called an ideal of R if for all A comma B belonging to I and all R belonging to R, we have A minus B belong to I and AR comma RA belongs to I. So for a subring, we have proved that A minus B belongs to S and A B belongs to S, where you have taken A and B from the set S itself. But for ideal, you are taking one element from the set I and another element R from the whole set R. Their product must be in the set I. Then only this I is called an ideal of R. So you may imagine in the diagram, you are having a big set, that is R. So in this set you are having a subset I. I should satisfy these two conditions. When you take two elements A comma B in I, A minus B should be in I. Also, when you take one element R, either in the set I or from the whole set R, which is outside I, when you multiply these two elements, A and R or B and R, any element of I with R, whether you multiply to the left or right, we should get AR as well as RA in this set I. So, if the I satisfies these two conditions, then I is called a ideal. Example, the set of all even integers is an ideal of z plus dot. As we have seen already, the set of all even integers is a subring of z. Also, the set of all even integers is an ideal of z. I'll explain in the diagram. The whole set is z. In z, you are taking only the even integers like 0, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 4, etc. So, when you take only the even integers, the elements outside this set I will be odd integers. So, here you are having 1 plus or minus 1 plus or minus 3 plus or minus 5, etc. So, we know that when you add any two even integers, the result is an even integer. And similarly, the inverse of plus 2 is minus 2. Similarly, plus 4 is minus 4. So, the inverse, additive inverse of plus a is minus a for all these integers. So, that also exists in I. So, here it is already a subring condition which we have proved in the previous theorem. Now, we shall check whether it is an ideal. So, for ideal, this condition holds. That is, the elements added with the additive inverse of another element exist in this set itself. When you take some other element from Z, that is when you are multiplying an odd number with an even number, the result is even number only. So that result will be exist in I only. So I contains the multiples RA as well as AR. So I is an ideal. So this condition satisfies not only for even integers but also for any multiples of a particular positive integer n. You take multiples of 3, then also it forms a ideal of z plus dot. So any multiples but you may note that z plus dot is not an ideal of q plus dot. So we have seen that z plus dot is a subring of q plus dot, whereas it is not an ideal of rational numbers. So when you consider integers and rational numbers, then integers are not ideal. So when you consider integers as the subset of rational numbers, then z plus dot is not an ideal of q plus dot. Since for example, particularly you take one element 1 by 2 in the whole set Q, and for a particular example 9 belonging to Z, when you multiply these two, you will have 1 by 2 into 9, that is 9 by 2, which is also a fraction or rational number that does not belongs to integers. So when you multiply a rational number and an integer, that may or may not occur in Z. So hence it is not an ideal of Q. But we can note that every ideal is a subring. as you may note that the Sankey condition for an ideal says that AR and RA must be in I for any element R belonging to R. In particular, that element R belonging to I itself, for those also AR and RA belongs to I, and hence I will be a subring.